Hello everyone, this is Costa from Broker Bay, and we have been on hiatus for the last couple of weeks with our stat video, but we're back at it this week, and let's go through it. So we've made a slight change. So rather than showing you the daily volume over 180 days, we've now averaged it over 7 days, so that it's a bit more legible to see the trend and where things are going, so you're not kind of distracted by all those little tiny peaks and valleys that can occur. So as we can see here, we've now begun to kind of level off for the late spring market, which kind of got pushed over into August now, and we've reached. It seems to be a peak, which it would be expected as we get into the end of or the middle of August, and I presume this will be the peak until we get ready for the fall market. So yeah, really strong showing volume. These little valleys right here are both long weekends, so nothing to be concerned about with what happened here. But yeah, it does appear that we're now reaching kind of the peak of showing activity for this very late spring market. For those of you that like fiddling around with the charts and kind of isolating certain values and indicators, please remember that you have to click off of these guys. So if you want to make the rest of these figures more pronounced, make sure to turn appointments off by just clicking it, or feel free to isolate whatever indicators you would like to isolate. One particularly interesting happening that in the last week or so that is not very typical of listings compared to offers is this particular week we're beginning to see a bit of a divergence between new MLS listings. So you can see we have a pretty aggressive uptick here, and just a more so of a leveling off of offers. I think it's way too early to extrapolate this and say that it's any meaningful statistic, especially since a lot of these stats are skewed because of the long weekend. But this is something for sure that I want to keep an eye on for next week to see if there's any real trend developing here, which I really doubt there is. But let's discuss this next week as we see how that plays out. When we look more closely at the last 30 days, again, it becomes much more apparent here that aside from this long weekend, which is quite low, we've really begun to stabilize in terms of market activity for showings at the very least. Similarly with offers, so let's put offers and solds here. So similarly with offers, we're beginning to see that the peaks are becoming a little lower, and the lows are becoming a little lower, which is indicative of this beginning to kind of taper off as we get to the end of August, which is seasonally pretty expected. So so the one thing which I do find interesting though is even though solds are tapering off slightly, we're seeing quite an aggressive spike in offers, which I think it's a little too early to tell if this is going to be indicative of where the market's going. But yeah, for whatever reason on this particular date, there was substantially higher amount of offers than before, maybe because of the long weekend. We will see. When we look at the stats month over month, so again, showings are pretty in line when we look at this week's showing compared to a month ago. Other than the long weekend Monday here, which kind of skews things a bit, showings are pretty much in line. And yeah, so I think that a lot of these hard stats would seem lower because of the long weekend. But yeah, in general, month over month, this past week that went by compared to a month before, showings down 7.2%, offers up 1.3%, new MLS listings down 8.3%, exclusives up 1.6%, and solds down 14.7%. That's month over month for the past week that just went by. When we look more closely at this week versus last week, showings up 6.5%, registrations down 2.4%, new MLS up 3.8%, new exclusives down 9.7%, and solds down 24.2%. So yeah, I think that the stats in general are a little bit wonky because of the long weekend that just happened. But let's wait and see what next week looks like to get a more definitive answer as to if there's a trend developing, likely because of where we are at in the season. So thanks everyone for watching. Again, feel free to use these charts in any medium that you'd like. So whether you like talking over them and making your own videos, or posting them places, or sharing them, or printing them, whatever it is, feel free to use these charts in any way that provides value for your business. Thanks for watching everyone, and talk to you soon.